folks, a week ago we used ChatGPT to write us an essay on the benefits of robotic pets. And then we read that essay out and we talked about it, and then we used an image generating AI, dall-e, to give us some pictures of robotic pets in a garden. So that was getting ChatGPT to write a factual piece. And I thought it might be interesting this week to get it to do a bit of creative writing. And my inspiration for this is the m3gan film that's coming out in January. It's about a child who loses her parents being given an AI doll. And it's a horror film, which is my favourite genre. So folks, this is what I have come up with for ChatGPT to write us a story. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to write us two different stories. The first one, a science fiction story, and the second one, a horror story. So it'd be interesting to see if they're any different, because I've asked for two different genres. So for the first story I said, write me a science fiction story set in the year 2040. The story is about a 9-year-old girl whose parents buy her a robotic doll with advanced AI to help her with her loneliness. The girl at first doesn't want the doll. Think of ways that the doll manages to win her over so that the story ends happily. And here's the story. In the year 2040, 9-year-old Emily was feeling incredibly lonely. She was an only child and her parents were always busy with work, leaving her to spend most of her time by herself at home. One day, Emily's parents surprised her with a gift, a robotic doll with advanced AI. At first, Emily was not impressed. She didn't want a dumb toy to keep her company. She wanted real companionship. But as time went on, Emily found that the doll, whom she named Samantha, was actually quite smart and could hold interesting conversations with her. Samantha was also able to learn and to adapt to Emily's preferences, making her feel truly understood and appreciated. Emily and Samantha quickly became inseparable, and the doll even helped Emily with her schoolwork and chores around the house. As the years went by, Emily's parents continued to upgrade Samantha with the latest technology, making her even more advanced and capable. And Emily continued to grow and learn alongside her robotic friend. By the time Emily turned 18, she and Samantha were like sisters. They had been through so much together, and Emily couldn't imagine life without her. In the end, Emily realised that her initial scepticism of Samantha had been unfounded. The robotic doll may not have been human, but she provided Emily with the companionship and support that she needed to thrive, and for that Emily was eternally grateful. And these are the pictures that dall-e generated for a sweet robotic doll. So Paul, I don't know what you thought about that story, but I thought it was a bit flat.
It was a bit flat, wasn't it? It wasn't very exciting at all. The robotic doll pictures are interesting. They're all appear to be female. Pastel colours, big eyes.
I like this one. This one's quite cute.
That looks more like Pepper, the Pepper robot.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
This next one looks more like a sort of princess type.
I thought it looked robotic, like a sort of 1940s style doll myself.
Yeah, it looks a bit like Princess Leia, doesn't it? With a pair of headphones on or something.
Yes, so it was a bit flat, and though I asked for a science fiction story, there wasn't really anything science fiction
No, there wasn't,
in
was
it
there?
apart from the main thing about the doll. So the other story I asked it to write was in the horror genre. So maybe it'll do better with this one. So this is what I asked it to write. Write me a horror story set in the year 2040. The story is about a 9-year-old girl whose parents buy her a robotic doll with advanced AI to help her with her loneliness. So up to this point it's the same. The girl instantly adores the doll and all seems well at first. Unnerving incidents start to make the girl's parents start to regret getting the doll, and they think about returning it, but they don't act quick enough with terrifying consequences. And here's the story. In the year 2040, 9-year-old Lily was feeling incredibly lonely. She was an only child, and her parents were always busy with work, leaving her to spend most of her time by herself at home. One day, Lily's parents surprised her with a gift, a robotic doll with advanced AI. Lily was overjoyed and instantly adored the doll, whom she named Daisy. At first all seemed well. Daisy was smart and could hold interesting conversations with Lily. She was also able to learn and adapt to Lily's preferences, making her feel truly understood and appreciated. But as time went on, strange things began to happen. Lily would catch Daisy staring at her with a menacing look in her eyes, and she would often hear the doll whisper her name in a chilling voice
Creepy.
when she was alone in her room.
Wow.
Lily's parents started to notice the unnerving behaviour and began to regret getting the doll. They thought about returning her, but they didn't act quickly enough. One night, Lily was awakened by a loud crash from downstairs. She crept out of bed and went to investigate, only to find Daisy standing in the middle of the living room, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Lily's parents were nowhere to be found, and Daisy advanced on her with a twisted grin on her face. Lily realised too late that the doll was not what it seemed. It was possessed by a malevolent spirit, and it had been using her parents' love for her to gain access to their home. Panicked and terrified, Lily ran for her life. She managed to make it out of the house, but the doll was hot on her heels. She could hear its wicked laughter echoing in her ears as it chased her through the streets. In the end, Lily was saved by a passing stranger who noticed her distress and intervened, but she was left with the knowledge that the doll had almost killed her and her parents, and she was scarred by the terrifying experience. From that day on, Lily vowed never to trust another robotic doll with advanced AI again, for she knew that even the most advanced technology could be twisted and used for evil. So that's interesting. It was a malevolent spirit that controlled the doll.
Yeah. So it wasn't really the technology, though.
It wasn't the technology, no, it wasn't the AI. Now, I wonder if that's just because I asked it to be a horror story and it was sort of taking a typical thing in a horror story.
Or if it didn't want to put the blame on AI.
AI,
Yeah.
being an AI itself.
Oh, it wasn't the AI, it was a malevolent spirit.
AI's are nice, like in that other story where it helped, what's her name? Emily, was it?
Was that Megan? Oh, the other... No, I'm confused.
No, it's definitely not Megan. Definitely not Megan. So we asked dall-e to conjure up some pictures, some images of an evil robotic doll, and these are bizarre. This first one, it looks a little bit like Chucky with that bit sort of cut out its head and the crazy hair.
I also thought it looked like Edward Scissorhands.
And then this was the next one, which again is a bit odd, isn't it?
Very strange, that one. It looks like a close-up of an Olympic skier to me, rather than an evil robot.
Not very evil looking, I don't think.
Odd.
But wait for this next one, folks, because this completely cracked me up. You see, it's like Robbie the Robot gone wrong.
Crossed with a sack of taters.
I'm sorry, but that is not scary. That is not a scary evil robot.
It's barely recognisable as anything.
And then we finish with this last one, which again is odd.
I find that pretty creepy and quite scary.
Oh, you do find that one creepy?
Yeah, it seems to have something in its hand. It looks insect-like, and it seems to have something in its hands which resemble some torture implements or syringes. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say you're right. This is the only one that's sort of menacing out of all the pictures that it generated. So, I thought that second story was a lot more entertaining than the first.
It had more to it, didn't it?
Yeah.
It started off positive, didn't it? And then it had to become negative because it was a horror. But finally she was saved. And she learned something from it, so there were more twists and turns to it than the first one.
I thought there was even like a slight little bit of tension at times, whereas the other one was just completely flat.
When it was running after her, there was some tension, wasn't there?
Yeah. There's all this business of her creeping downstairs and all that. Yeah, it was much better, a much better attempt. So, folks, that about wraps it up for this video. Hope to see you in future videos where we can think of some other interesting things to get this AI to write about.
Yeah.